Alright, hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Maria Kay. Today's video is going to be very short and sweet because today I'm going to be talking about everything you need to know for the internal GMDC road test. Let's get right into it. Just to clarify, this is not the RTA road test and it's not the smart yard parking test. If you don't know any of the words I'm saying in context, then just ignore what I'm saying. But I think this applies to any internal road test for any driving school in Dubai. So I'll just go through everything that I studied and rehearsed and practiced in terms of knowledge and in terms of skills for the road test. So let's get started. When you first sit in that car, it's going to be very hot, but you've got to remember everything that you need to know. I started with this acronym, DSSSM. D for door, check your door, check the indicator on the dashboard. If the light is on, that means that someone's door is open. S for steering, you can adjust your steering. There's a latch that you can use to adjust the steering's height. And then you adjust your seat, right, as close as you need to. And seat belt, put your own and make sure everyone else is wearing theirs. And then mirrors. You want to make sure that you have 20% of the car door for the side mirrors showing, and it should be relatively straight. I didn't know this, but you can actually move the ear that is the mirror. So what's adjusted digitally with the buttons is just the angle of the mirror, but the actual ear that it's attached to, you have to push that back with your hand. At least that was the case for the car that I was driving. And then adjust your center mirror as well. Okay, and then you're probably ready to back out of that parking, so you're going to do a 6-point check. Depending on which direction you have to travel, check your center mirror and put your indicator. Then we're going to look for back shoulder check on the opposite side of which you're traveling. That side mirror, center mirror, side mirror, back shoulder check. Then you want to look straight behind you in the car, back to the center mirror and slowly back out. And you're going to keep looking right and left as you back out. Once your car is pretty much out, you can start doing a full turn in the direction that you want to travel. Do it nice and slow while you're moving. And then, oh, I forgot to mention, before starting to reverse, you want to make sure that you're in reverse gear and release the handbrake. Okay, you've backed out of parking. Make sure you're going to drive. You don't need to touch the handbrake for this stage. And then you're going to go out. So the first step is going to be going out of the motor driving center. Just make sure you're not stepping on any yellow lines. You are using your indicator to move around, look around for pedestrians. If you see one, stop and put a hazard and release the hazard and keep moving. Okay, as for driving, just make sure you are driving at the speed limit, not touching too many of the boundaries. Make sure you're pretty much in the center. And you want to drive with confidence, so if it's green light, go. We don't want to slow down unnecessarily, press the brakes unnecessarily. If you are in a residential area, it's 40 kilometers per hour. If it's on a 3-lane road, it's going to be 60 kilometers per hour. If you see a pedestrian, stop. If you see a stop sign, stop for 3 seconds and then look. And then go with full confidence. No need to go and stop and go and stop. As for mirror checks, make sure you're constantly, every 10 seconds, looking at your side mirrors, every 5 seconds looking at your center mirror. Just keep it as an extension of your vision while you're driving. And before you brake, you want to check your center mirror. Before you indicate, you want to check your center mirror. Okay, some rules to keep in mind. If you see a school bus, don't overtake it. Slow down and stop if the stop sign is out. Don't change lanes near a bus stop. Stop behind the pedestrian line. If you're stopping at a stop sign, stop behind the bright white line. And use your indicators freely. Okay, the next thing you're going to be tested on is a lane change. So to do that, check your center mirror, indicate, then look at your side mirror that you want to change lanes to. And if needed, so if you are on a road and you're not going into a side exit, for example, you need to do a shoulder check. So make sure you do your shoulder check Center mirror and roof. I'm saying center mirror a lot, but the purpose of the center mirror is not just to look directly behind you, but there's a lane on your right side and there's a lane on your left side. And you can see them both through your center mirror. So adjust your field of vision and look at the entire center mirror as a whole. You're looking in all directions behind you. Okay, the next thing you may be tested on is the roundabout. And don't stress, but you need full confidence. Before you get to a roundabout, slow down. If you are ready to go, you can go right away. So, which direction are you traveling? If you're going right or straight, you're going to use the rightmost lane or the right lane. To go to the right, you're going to use your right indicator and enter the roundabout if your way is clear and exit on the right lane. If you're going straight ahead, you are going to stay on your right. You can also use the exterior lane and continue on that exterior lane straight ahead. Before you leave the roundabout, because you're going straight, you enter the roundabout without having put your indicator. So before you leave from that exit, put your right indicator and exit the roundabout. Okay, as for going left or U-turns, you're going to use the interior lane, so the leftmost lane. Always, before you exit the roundabout, do a shoulder check if needed and look at the incoming traffic and the traffic that you're going to be crossing into to exit the roundabout. Every time you exit from the roundabout, just put your indicator on, and that brings us to exiting the roundabout. So if you exited on the leftmost lane, which is the case for U-turns or for left turns, you want to make sure that you are going back to the slow lane. So how do we do that? Make sure that there's no pedestrian crossing in front, there's no junction in front. If there is, then you're going to change lanes after that. But when you're ready to change lanes and you see that it's safe to do so, center mirror, indicator, shoulder check, center mirror, go. You may also need to overtake. How do you overtake? Just make sure that the lane is clear on your left-hand side. And then what you're going to do is center mirror, indicate, speed up, go on the side of that vehicle, and then right indicator if needed. And then make sure you're a good distance away from the vehicle such that that vehicle can see that you put your indicator on and that you're going to be closing in on them. And then overtake. And just a note about changing lanes, make sure that you are maintaining your speed while changing lanes. Don't press the brake. Okay, and that's it really. You may be asked to park the vehicle. So if you're gonna do that, I was asked to park on the side, and I haven't done parking lessons yet, so I can't tell you how to park any other way. But you're just gonna use your indicator, change lanes when safe, and you wanna straighten out your car. And when you've stopped completely, straighten your steering wheel. Then we're gonna put it in park and engage the handbrake, and then switch off the engine if needed. Okay, and as for hazards, you're gonna be encountering hazards when a pedestrian is crossing, even on the zebra crossing. If you're stopping, you need to put a hazard. If a car is moving out of a parking spot, if a car in front of you has broken down for some reason, you're gonna put the hazards. If you had to stop for any reason, put the hazards. And as for parking, just make sure in the exam that you have enough space to open that door and that you're not being tricked into parking somewhere with doors or a gate. I'll just walk through what my road test looked like. Okay, so I guess I'll start with some context. My road test was with Galadari Motor Driving Center, GMDC. And my test was in Alcoz. It was a total of around 15 minutes. So at the start of your test, you're gonna be called by your assessor, and you go in the car with one other student. That was the case for me. And so you started the test. The instructor had already turned on the car, which I was surprised by, but I just backed the car out of the parking lot, and the instructor told me which way to go, left or right. So I put the indicator and went out my merry way. And so we then drove around. There was a stop sign for which I stopped for 3 seconds, and then you're just on a 40-kilometer road mostly. My test was around noontime, so there was a lot of traffic. We ended up doing a stop sign. We went up to a 60-kilometer road. There was a U-turn and a lane change. We did not end up going to a roundabout in my assessment. That's it really, and I had to slow down for a speed bump at which there was a pedestrian, so you just have to stop, put your hazards on, etc. And that's it really. At the end of the test, the instructor asked me to park on the side of a road. Yeah, and then I was asked to park the car, put the hazards on, and then I swapped with the other student. If it's relevant to you, I was sitting at the back of the car for the second part of the test, and I got the result to be SMS'd to me on my phone. So if you do end up doing that, just keep your phone on you and probably on silent so you don't distract the other student. But you're gonna get your result in a couple of minutes. And the instructor didn't say a word apart from the instructions, so no affirmations and no comments about anything wrong that I did. And I ended up passing that internal road test. And if I don't mention this later, for parking, you just gotta make sure that you're not parking in front too close to the other cars so that they can't back out and you can't open your door. And you wanna make sure that it's not in front of a gate, a fire hydrant, a bus stop, a door, an entrance, anything of the sort. And okay, that's all you need to know for the internal road test. At least that's the case for my driving school. I wish you the best of luck. I know for me, I struggle a lot with anxiety and I was really worried before the test. But I would suggest that you come a bit early. If they ask you to come in half an hour early, but I had 2 hours of a lesson before and an hour break and then the road test. So that is what I would recommend for everyone out there. It just gives you enough time to decompress. Probably do some breath work if you're like me and stress for no reason. And then that's it. I wish you the best of luck and let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching this video. Bye.